The prince of the Beverly Hills Circle lost his memory and pursued me relentlessly, so I played the role of his girlfriend for 3 years, only to realize I had fallen for him for real. But the truth was, I was just his pawn in a game to win back his first love. 99 deceptions, a miscarriage, a broken leg. He treated my sincere love as a joke. On the 100th time, I staged my own death to make him believe I loved him, but he went completely mad. When I was reborn from the ashes, he came to atone for his sins, but unfortunately, the Jennifer Jong who loved him had already died in his cruel game. Ethan Ford, thank you for pretending to have amnesia to get back at me, and playing tricks on Jennifer Jong. As long as the pranks reach 100 times, I'll date you. Sophia Shen's voice rose at the end. Ethan Ford. Prank number 96 completed. Ethan Ford's voice was filled with unfamiliar sarcasm. Sophia Shen, do you find this fun? Just getting back at you, sis. Since Jennifer Jong stole your national award and game design competition prize. Ethan Ford's brothers teased. Sis, once we reach 100 pranks, Ethan Ford will announce you as his girlfriend. My blood froze instantly. I have to say, Ethan Ford really knows how to play. He came up with the amnesia trick to fool Jennifer Jong. The first time he made her search for a bracelet in the rain, then gave it to Sophia Shen. Her expression, my nails dug into my palm. That bracelet was a Hachan jade one my mother gave me before she passed. Ethan Ford said it got lost when he moved. I spent 7 hours in a storm looking for it, running a fever of 40 degrees Celsius. The best part was on the day of the thesis defense. Ethan Ford tricked her into getting drunk at a bar and getting beaten up. His brothers laughed. Jennifer Jong rushed to the bar, only to find there was no fight. The way she begged the instructor, I secretly filmed it. I bit my lip hard. That time I abandoned my thesis defense, which I had been preparing for half a year, to find Ethan Ford. In the end, I had to postpone it. Sophia Shen chuckled lightly. Then there was the time she spent 3 sleepless nights making the game design mock-ups, and I watched her pick them up all night with red eyes. She looked like a stray dog. Ethan Ford smiled appropriately. How should we prank her this time? Say Ethan Ford went to the hospital and tell her to come quick. We can throw a party and make her wait. What do you think? My phone immediately vibrated. It was Ethan Ford. Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Come quickly. Fearing being discovered, I hurriedly left. But 2 minutes later, Ethan Ford retracted the message. As if regretting tricking me, I pretended I never received it, and cooperated by not replying. But I had already anticipated these things. When Ethan Ford took a shower, I accidentally found a video in his phone titled, Game Progress. There were 96 videos in total, exactly matching the number of pranks I had endured. The password was Sophia Shen's birthday, 1224. He lied to me, saying it was the day he first met me. Last year, on this day, I waited for him for 3 hours in the snow on Christmas Eve, but he was at the Shen family villa, putting a birthday crown on her head, and didn't come until late at night. Ethan Ford carefully wrapped a scarf around my neck as if it was the most precious thing. A dull pain rose in my heart as I opened WeChat. I found it in the pinned chat. He reported every prank's progress to Sophia Shen every day, with endless messages. Today I tricked her into thinking there was overtime at the company, but I actually took you to Disney. She waited until 3 a.m., purposely told her the competition started 2 hours late. The way she ran in her pajamas was hilarious. The last message was from the day of the reunion, when Sophia Shen accidentally spilled hot coffee. Ethan Ford instinctively protected me, but the chat record read, she said meeting her felt dirty, sprayed disinfectant 3 times. I called my dad and told him I wanted to move to P. Alex Schmidt with him. Ever since my mom passed 5 years ago, he had been living in their special place, spending his remaining years there. I had stayed in China for Ethan Ford, rejecting the idea of studying abroad. Unable to meet my dad all year, I once thought that if I warmed up the ice in Ethan Ford's heart, I would see the spring. But I forgot that when ice melts, all that's left is bone-chilling cold. My true love, like a moth to a flame, was just a prank game to him, and I was the clown used to chase his first love. Hearing this, my dad was overjoyed. Baby girl, you finally figured it out. I held back my tears and nodded. Dad, when I leave, help me create a plane crash accident. He didn't understand, but agreed. The plane crash was the last gift I gave to Ethan Ford. The name Jennifer Jong, I will make him regret for the rest of his life. I deleted all our photos from my phone. When I was packing up at home, a leather notebook slid out from Ethan Ford's safe. The dark green cover had the phoenix totem from the game, Ember of the Ancients, embossed on it. It was the first logo I designed after 36 sleepless nights. Ethan Ford had printed it on the cover, with all my design drafts from the years carefully collected. wishing my dreams would come true. I stopped at the 7th page. Beside a photo of me wearing glasses and typing code, there was a sticky note. Today she cursed the planner like a mad cat. The revised plan was 10 times stronger. How can she be such a cute genius? Every time I stayed up late drawing drafts, Ethan Ford would stay with me, massaging my shoulders, making me noodles. Once, at midnight, he ran out to buy me a cake because of one sentence I said. During my period, he would always prepare brown sugar ginger tea and warm packs on time. He said it was a love prank game, but he was clearly involved too. And the last page contained a ticket stub from last year's Shishi festival, with his bold handwriting filling the empty spaces. If I could choose again, I would still pretend to lose the ticket and trick her into spending the night at the airport helping me revise the plan. Because this was the 72nd prank I promised Sophia Shen. Raindrops pattered on the windowsill. All love was based on self-deception. He might love me, but he loved Sophia Shen more. I was just a tool for his revenge. I tremblingly took out my phone and scheduled the abortion. Late at night, I lay in bed, hearing Ethan Ford come home, feigning sleep. After a long pause, it seemed like he stopped moving. I wondered. This time I didn't cooperate with the prank. Surely it would make him lose face in front of Sophia Shen and his brothers. But he just brushed it off. The bed behind me sank, and a pair of strong arms wrapped around me. Ethan Ford leaned his head against my neck, as if returning to his nest after a long journey. His warm breath filled with joy. We're having a baby. Little Moon. Little Moon was his nickname for me, saying I was like the moon in the sky, only shining for him. But I knew, behind my back, he told Sophia Shen I was pretending to be pure. Little Moon was just something he made up to amuse himself, just to watch me fall in love, become a fool blinded by romance. I stayed silent. He still didn't know I had already decided not to keep the child. Ethan Ford didn't notice the difference. He pulled out my pregnancy test results, drawing 3 little hearts with his fountain pen. It was the first month's salary I spent on the pen for him after I started working. He had kept it with him all these years. I didn't respond. Ethan Ford pulled me closer, whispered endless sweet words, but my heart felt like it was frozen in the bitter winter of December, unable to thaw. I'm tired. Let's sleep early. He immediately obeyed and shut up, only saying, tomorrow we'll go to Sophia Shen's birthday party, and quickly fell asleep. But I stayed awake all night. Ethan Ford staged an amnesia game, and I sacrificed 3 years of my heart. Now, I will stage a fake death, and make him regret for the rest of his life. At the birthday party, Ethan Ford's brothers surrounded me in the private room. They pushed the biggest piece of cake in front of me. Sis, Ethan Ford says he loves watching you eat sweets. Ethan Ford looked away, pretending not to notice. The moment the cake entered my mouth, a bitter taste spread up my throat, making me nauseous. But Sophia Shen pressed me down, forcing the unfinished cake into my mouth. Jennifer Zhang, it's my birthday. Don't refuse me. I thought you were disgusted by me. My lower abdomen immediately twisted with unbearable pain. Ethan Ford's brothers laughed and teased, treating me like the punchline of a joke. After finishing the cake, I rushed to the restroom, vomiting uncontrollably. And in the private room, a burst of satisfied laughter echoed. The prank had worked. Is your stomach flu better? Ethan Ford handed me a glass of warm water with mint leaves. It was his remedy for nausea, the same one he taught me when we first met. I couldn't respond to his fake tenderness. As the sharp abdominal pain became unbearable, I looked down. Blood was streaming from between my legs. Shocking to see. I grabbed Ethan Ford's arm. Take me to the hospital. But Sophia Shen blocked the door, smiling. It's just a menstrual disorder. It happens to girls. Don't overreact. Move. Ethan Ford shouted angrily. It was the first time he contradicted Sophia Shen. When I woke up, I heard Sophia Shen's teasing voice outside the examination room, criticizing Ethan Ford's brothers. Did you add too much hallucinogen? Weren't we supposed to just humiliate her in public? One of his brothers laughed. We got rid of a burden. Ethan Ford should thank me. Right. It's been 3 years. If she had a child, Ethan Ford would have had trouble breaking up with Jennifer Zhang. Ethan Ford was silent for a long time before speaking. Pranks are pranks. But don't touch her body. Sophia Shen was surprised for a moment, then angrily asked, who said, let this bookworm experience the fall from the clouds for me? Wasn't it you who suggested making Jennifer Zhang a birthday gift by humiliating her in public? Have you fallen in love with her? In the next moment, Ethan Ford denied quickly. Impossible. I definitely love you. Laughter immediately resumed outside, celebrating the end of the 98th prank, planning the 99th one. I touched my flat stomach. A dull pain lingered. The baby and I were just pawns in their game. Just a birthday gift for Sophia Shen. I wiped away my tears. and with trembling fingers, cancelled the abortion. There was no need for me to decide. The father of the child had already sentenced its death. I was about to contact my dad when Ethan Ford entered. I closed my eyes, pretending to sleep. I only heard his hoarse voice filled with guilt. Jennifer Zhang, I'm sorry. The reason was clear. After I recovered and was discharged from the hospital, Ethan Ford said that his brothers and Sophia Shen wanted to apologize to me and invited me to climb Santa Monica Mountains. At the top of the mountain, there is a temple believed to grant blessings, where we could pray for our lost child. I knew this might just be another prank, but thinking of the child, my heart was inevitably moved. After this, I was going to United States, thinking of it as my last goodbye to the child. Along the way, they surrounded Sophia Shen, laughing and fawning over her, completely ignoring me. When we passed by the prayer tree, Ethan Ford bought a talisman, and together we wrote a prayer for the child. Sophia Shen smiled softly beside us. Jennifer Zhang, you really are such a good mother. I ignored her hypocrisy. The prayer tree had little space left, so when I hung the talisman, part of it had to extend beyond the railing. I leaned halfway out, and suddenly, someone pushed me hard from behind. I fell forward unprepared, tumbling down the steep hillside, pain surging through my body, reaching my organs. My leg was severely injured, and I could hardly move, losing consciousness instantly. Half conscious, I felt Ethan Ford pick me up, his eyes bloodshot. Little Moon, don't be afraid, I'll take you to the hospital. Why? I whispered, tears blurring my vision. Why are you doing this to me? The wound was external, but it felt as if my heart had shattered. Ethan Ford's eyes were full of guilt and fear, his voice trembling. I didn't know they would do this. I really didn't know. Then, everything went black. When I woke up again, my right leg was covered in a thick cast. The doctor said my leg might be permanently damaged, and I lay in bed, tears silently falling. Ethan Ford sat by my bed, looking haggard, his features strained with pain, his eyes filled with guilt and sorrow. He drew a small moon on the cast, gently saying, "Little Moon, I'll always be with you until you recover." I closed my eyes, and Ethan Ford pulled the blanket tight around me, being careful not to disturb me. He rushed around, preparing everything I needed for the hospital stay, running back and forth for nearly an hour before finally sitting down, looking like the most devoted boyfriend. But ironically, he was the one who caused this in the first place. I pretended to sleep, but my heart raced, telling of my pain, and Ethan Ford didn't sleep that night, staying by my side. He kissed the little moon he drew on the cast from time to time, tears flowing steadily, holding my hand tightly, as if he feared I would disappear if he let go. "I'm sorry, little moon, this is all my fault. I shouldn't have listened to them, shouldn't have hurt you. Thankfully, I still have a chance. I'll never hurt you again. You're my life. Little moon, I almost lost you. I'm sorry," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion, watching me through the night. I knew he was hurting because of the injury he caused me. Last time, he had said in front of Sophia Shen and the others, it was just a prank, not to touch my body. I felt some pity, yet I also found myself laughing at how foolish I was. Ethan Ford's principal was Sophia Shen. This was the 99th prank, and I was still his toy to win her favor, while Ethan Ford silently approved of it. But who could say that for the 100th time, he wouldn't continue being an accomplice in hurting me? The next day, while Ethan Ford went to buy breakfast, I called my dad and had the bodyguard come to pick me up, preparing for the plane crash plan. As I waited, Sophia Shen arrived, smiling like a victor, her expression full of pride. "Jennifer Zhang, making you break your leg was one of my plans. This is the 99th prank." I took a deep breath, glaring at her. Sophia Shen looked me up and down before adjusting the luxurious shawl around her shoulders. "The 100th prank will be at the Kirui competition. You'll be accused of plagiarizing Schmidt M. Your game Ember of the Ancients. All the copies have been sent to me by Ethan Ford. He's bribed the organizing committee. Your submission time will always be 3 minutes later than mine. Just wait to be nailed to the shame pole." Kirui is the most prestigious game design competition in the country, and I had been preparing for it for 2 years. The game copies for Ember of the Ancients were in my computer. I was seething with rage, and raised my hand to slap her. Stealing my things, eyeing my boyfriend. "Sophia Shen, you'll forever be stuck with second-hand goods. Aren't you ashamed?" Sophia Shen's brows shot up, grabbing my wrist and twisting it, about to slap me back. "Now you're the one using second-hand goods." But her slap never landed. "What are you doing, Sophia Shen?" Ethan Ford returned, with a bodyguard his dad had called in right behind him. He was suddenly angry at Sophia Shen. Sophia Shen, understanding that he had to do one last love prank and couldn't break the fake relationship with me, said nothing in defeat and walked away angrily. Before Ethan Ford could explain, the bodyguard pushed over the wheelchair to take me away. He sensed something was wrong, stopping the wheelchair, asking anxiously, "Little Moon, what are you doing?" I lowered my head. "I'm going to United States to heal. My dad is very worried about me." Ethan Ford didn't want me to go, saying he couldn't trust me alone. But he was the cause of my leg injury, and I insisted that my parents wanted to see me as soon as possible. Reluctantly, he agreed. Then, almost impatiently, he booked a flight for tomorrow right in front of me, saying he would come find me and asked for my flight details. I hesitated before telling him it was MU5882. He still wanted to send me off, but just then, his phone rang. It was one of his brothers, Mike Chen. "Ethan Ford, hurry." Sis fell down the stairs. Without a word of explanation, Ethan Ford dashed out, forgetting to say goodbye. I gave a bitter, cold laugh, then said to the bodyguard, "Let's go." At the airport, the attendant greeted me. "Ma'am, the flight path has been arranged." Mr. Zhang said he would create the perfect crash scene. The boarding screen flashed CA1621. I nodded and boarded the plane to United States. 12:24. The day Ethan Ford said we first met. Whether true or not, I chose this moment for him to remember me forever. Remember that I died in his prank game, and let him regret it for the rest of his life, filled only with regret. 1 second before the plane crashed, I sent Ethan Ford my final text message. "Ethan Ford, your 100th prank. I'm giving my life to play with you." My phone was immediately bombarded with countless calls and messages. MU5882 crashed. I took one last look at my phone, particularly at a post from Sophia Shen's alternate Weibo account. Ethan Ford said he wants to play a prank compilation of a clown at our wedding. The look on some people's faces when they cried will be perfect for the intro. The picture showed Ethan Ford's safe in the Cloud Top Apartments, neatly packed with 99 recording pens. Looking at all the missed calls from Ethan Ford, I smiled and removed the SIM card. He still didn't know about the plane crash. He only knew I had discovered his prank game. Doubt? Anger? Panic? Or unease? Confusion? It didn't matter anymore. Dad said, to make a private jet disappear from radar, it was like wiping fingerprints from a wedding photo, and told me not to worry. And I would completely disappear from Ethan Ford's life. When Ethan Ford heard of the crash, he rushed to the accident site, tearing through the smoking wreckage with his bare hands. His custom suit was torn by rebar. The firefighters tried to stop him, but his bloodshot eyes scared them off. "My fiancée is in there. She's wearing the moon necklace I gave her today." At that moment, a tall stranger approached. Without waiting for him to see clearly, the man punched him. Ethan Ford collapsed to the ground, not fighting back, only continuing to search through the debris, desperately looking for a familiar face. "The ashes of Miss Zhang will be taken back to P. Alex Schmidt to be buried with her mother. You've wronged her. There's no way to clear your sins." It was my dad's assistant. Ethan Ford's legs gave way, and he collapsed to his knees on the rubble. At that moment, he saw a ring, trembling as he picked it up. It was the one he picked out for me at the jewelry store. But engraved on it were the words, 100 pranks. Betting you love me. I had engraved it later. Ethan Ford was struck like a lightning bolt, trembling all over. He finally understood I had known everything all along. And he, not only hurt me time and again, but also allowed Sophia Shen and all his brothers to trample and insult me. In the prank-filled romance, Ethan Ford developed feelings for me, yet he deceived himself, pretending he still loved Sophia Shen. Not wanting to lose face in front of Sophia Shen and his brothers, he didn't dare admit the truth. After all, in his view, the 100th prank was just around the corner, and I had no idea. He could have easily ignored it, continued to pretend to be my good boyfriend. After all, I was still deeply in love with him, and he was the only one for me. But he didn't expect that I discovered everything and was still playing along with his act. At this moment, Ethan Ford's heart finally began to empathize with mine. We'd been together for 3 years, and he'd always stood on my left side, so close to my heart, so intimate, but there was always a galaxy separating us, cold and indifferent. Now, he finally felt the pain of my endurance. My career was ruined, my studies delayed, my leg injured, I had a miscarriage, failed at the competition, and my lover deceived me. Yet every time he had to choose, none of these things compared to a single word from Sophia Shen. Ethan Ford collapsed in the wreckage of the plane, broken and crying until he nearly fainted. He was later found by kind-hearted staff and rushed to the hospital. When Sophia Shen saw Ethan Ford's zombie-like state, she was somewhat displeased. Perfect timing for the 100th prank. Let's announce it. Ethan Ford. Ethan Ford didn't react. Using a dead person's design for the competition, she proudly waved the USB drive, a smug smile on her face. Ethan Ford, want to be the award presenter? Ethan Ford's face froze, cold as ice. He rushed over, slapped her hard, and grabbed her neck, slamming her into the glass window. I won't be with you. If you dare touch anything of hers, I'll make sure you spend your 25th birthday in prison. Sophia Shen, this is war. Sophia Shen covered her face, furious. Are you out of your mind? She's dead. Why are you so worked up? Don't forget, you were pranking her to get back at her for me. Ethan Ford's brothers chimed in. Yeah, she's finally dead. Ethan Ford is free now. Too bad. We won't get to see her embarrass herself one last time. Haha. I was even planning to hire someone to pour feces on her at the design competition. Ethan Ford yelled. Shut up. If it weren't for your pranks, Jennifer Jong would never have died. The brothers exchanged glances and then burst out laughing. You wanted to prank her. You killed her. You're the real murderer. Got it? Stop pretending to be so loving. Didn't you put laxatives in her brown sugar tea? Make her miss her thesis defense. Before he finished speaking, Ethan Ford flipped him over and they started fighting. In the end, Ethan Ford, exhausted and covered in wounds, was rushed to the emergency room. The last bit of news about Ethan Ford that my dad's assistant brought to me was, he had turned against everyone, frequently self-harmed, muttering apologies to his deceased fiancée, and was often in and out of psychiatric hospitals. He even put up a tombstone for me at a cemetery in the capital, visiting it often. The logo of the game we designed together was engraved on it, right on his chest. In the gaming world, everyone knew Ethan Ford had an unforgettable first love, a woman who had died in the plane crash. I scoffed, continuing to receive the best leg treatment in United States. 2 years later, I established a game studio in United States and released the fantasy game, Ember of the Ancients, that I had independently designed. Under the name, Anna Zhang, I submitted it to an Global Game Innovation Awards. With its unique design based on Chinese mythology and fantasy elements, and its alignment with Western player markets, the game won the Gold Award. It caused a huge stir in China as well. This was the first time a Chinese game designer had won the gold medal in the competition, and the auction price of the game skyrocketed to the millions. The studio also saw an influx of cooperation offers. The auction was scheduled in 3 days. My dad asked me, "Are you really going to make such a big deal out of it? Aren't you worried Ethan Ford will show up at the auction?" I heard he'd been labeled as the madman with a dead wife in the capital, and no one could even mention my name in front of him. I didn't care, replying with a smile, "It's been 2 years. He's the one still trapped in the shadows, not me. I'm not afraid of anyone now." My dad looked at my now walking legs and nodded. "Ethan Ford is scum. If he dares to harm you, I'll make sure he disappears." Ember of the Ancients was a manuscript I had drawn out in front of him. He knew almost all of its designs. Now that I had won the international gold medal, there was no way he hadn't heard rumors and started suspecting. But he never imagined the plane crash was faked. But once he got a clue, tracking it down would be easy. The day after the international game competition announced the gold award, Ethan Ford appeared at my studio door. He looked terrifyingly thin, his suit hanging loosely on his shoulders, the phoenix tattoo on his collarbone peeked out from his shirt, and he wore the 100th prank ring I had lost in the plane crash around his neck. His brows were deep from prolonged sorrow, radiating a sinister coldness and detached indifference. The moment he saw me, his eyes softened and focused. "Little Moon," he spoke in a hoarse voice. "Congratulations on winning the international competition." Hearing my old nickname made me feel sick. Ethan Ford raised a dark green notebook in his hand with an awkward smile. "Congratulations. Your dream has come true." He wanted to use the old notebook full of our past to win me back, but I had already seen Sophia Shen's prank instructions inside. I couldn't fool myself into thinking this was a love record meant just for me. I looked at him coldly and said, "Mr. Fu, came here personally to present me with my trophy? Too bad. A dead person can't accept blessings meant for the living." But Ethan Ford ignored the sting in my words, as if confirming that I was still alive in front of him. His emotions finally shattered uncontrollably, tears falling instantly. His voice shook. "You're still alive? Thank God. I thought I lost you forever." He pulled out the jade necklace my mother had left me, the one he had thrown away as part of a prank and later gave to Sophia Shen. Little moon, I'm giving it back to you. I was wrong. These past 2 years, I've lived in pain and guilt every single day. I hate myself for everything I've done to hurt you. Can you? The sleeve of his shirt slid down to reveal countless horrifying cuts, scars from self-inflicted wounds. For a moment, my heart ached, but I couldn't care less about his fake sincerity. I just wanted to take back my mother's heirloom. No, I interrupted him coldly. The Jennifer Zhang who loved you is dead. She died in the plane crash 2 years ago. 100 pranks. A miscarriage. Leg injuries. Do you know how many surgeries I had to go through just to stand up again? Ethan Ford, why don't you just die? I lifted the hem of my skirt, revealing the cold metallic joints of my prosthetic leg. The scars left from the surgeries wrapped around the muscles, withered and ugly. None of this would have happened if not for you. Ethan Ford froze, shocked, his eyes turning bloodshot, his sorrow pouring uncontrollably. I had once desperately hoped that he would show more determination, more love in his pranks. But there was nothing. Ethan Ford gripped my hand tightly, and upon hearing my words, he collapsed to his knees, looking at me with the pleading eyes of a pitiful abandoned dog. I know I deserve to die, but since fate has brought us back together, it means our bond isn't broken. Please, give me one more chance. Jennifer Zhang, little moon, he said, about to hug my legs, but I trembled, feeling disgusted. Let go of me, Ethan Ford, you're insane. Who is he? Get lost. A tall man rushed over and kicked Ethan Ford. Due to his long-standing mental issues, Ethan Ford instantly collapsed, and I took the opportunity to reclaim the necklace. Alex Schmidt stepped in front of me, asking with concern if I was hurt. I shook my head. He was a game designer at my studio from Germany, whom I had hired with a high salary. Meanwhile, Ethan Ford, with a bitter expression, looked like someone abandoned and rejected, struggling to crawl toward me. Who is he? Have you fallen in love with him? Jennifer Zhang, you can't do this to me. I can't live without you. What do I have to do for you to forgive me? Alex Schmidt gave Ethan Ford another hard kick. You've threatened our boss's safety. I'm calling the police. Ethan Ford couldn't move, coughing painfully, his face covered in dirt and tears. A pitiful sight. I coldly said, whoever he is, it has nothing to do with you. Forgive you? Unless you die. With Alex Schmidt's help, I returned to the studio, catching a glimpse of Ethan Ford's eyes filled with neglect, pain, and foggy sorrow. Just like me, 2 years ago. The next day, while preparing for the auction of Ember of the Ancients, I suddenly received a call from the hospital in P. Alex Schmidt. Ethan Ford had cut his own calf, and when the paramedics arrived, he was lying in a pool of blood, smiling, murmuring, "This way, Jennifer Zhang will forgive me." The hospital staff said that Ethan Ford only wanted to contact me. If I didn't show up, he wouldn't accept treatment. His wound was still bleeding heavily. But I couldn't forgive him so easily. This was a betrayal of the 2 years I had spent deceived, with 100 pranks played on me. I politely declined the staff. I don't know this Mr. Fu. If he refuses treatment, I can contact a funeral home for him. On the other end, Ethan Ford's trembling voice cried out, "Little moon, my leg hurts so much. I feel like I'm going to die. Please, come see me. Just one look. You used to care about me so much." I felt a wave of nausea rise in my stomach and hung up immediately. The old Jennifer Zhang, whenever she heard anything about Ethan Ford, would drop everything and rush to him. But every time I arrived, it was either an empty room or Sophia Shen's mocking laughter. Jennifer Zhang, you're just like Ethan Ford's dog. He beckons and you run to him? Jennifer Zhang, you're so pathetic. Look at you, throwing yourself at him. I really looked down on you. I steadied my emotions and walked out of the darkness of the past, continuing to prepare for the auction of Ember of the Ancients. This time, I was determined to win. The night before the game auction, Sophia Shen posted a pile of manuscript materials, including programming designs, on her Weibo. The content included the preliminary operational framework of the game, and the computer timestamp showed that it was from 2 years ago. She used this as evidence to accuse me of plagiarizing her original game. 2 years ago, Sophia Shen had orchestrated 99 pranks on me, only to be dumped by Ethan Ford. Over the last 2 years, her family business had been targeted by Ethan Ford, and she'd been struggling. But now, this culprit of hers had come back from the dead, and of course, she was furious. I immediately recognized that these were the game design files Ethan Ford had stolen from my computer and given to Sophia Shen. The day I faked my death, Sophia Shen had even arrogantly bragged to me that this would be the prize-winning work of Kirui Games, and under Ethan Ford's protection, she would win. Meanwhile, I would be labeled as the plagialix Schmidt who submitted 3 minutes late. Later, I didn't attend the Kirui Games due to my recovery, and Sophia Shen didn't dare to attend either, because Ethan Ford had threatened her. But I never expected that 2 years later, she would gamble everything on this, venting all her pain and bitterness on me. The Weibo post quickly hit the top of trending topics, and in an instant, the entire internet was in uproar. The international competition gold medalist I was supposed to be had now become the villain who plagiarized an unknown designer. The slander was so widespread that it tarnished my reputation, turning what was once glory into theft. The very next day, the auction for my game was set to begin, and the smear campaign was sure to affect both the price and the reputation of the game. At that moment, the official website showed that the auction price for our game had already dropped to half of its original value. More and more people were filing complaints to the competition's official page, demanding the withdrawal of the gold medal because a plagialix Schmidt like me didn't deserve it. My assistant was frantic, holding up a tablet. It's not too late to cancel the auction. I touched my still aching right leg from the rehabilitation and looked out at the Alex Schmidt morning light. Retrieve the cloud backup source files from 2 years ago. Proving my innocence wasn't difficult. It was just a matter of sifting through the vast number of manuscripts and source files, and then compiling an explanation. Who knew how much time it would take, or how much damage it would cause? Maybe I wouldn't even finish by the end of the night, and my game, Ember of the Ancients, would be disqualified from the auction. Just as I was preparing to tackle this headache, the door to the conference room was suddenly slammed open. Ms. Zhang, you need to see this live broadcast. It's Ethan Ford. I opened my computer. He was lying in a hospital bed, wearing a hospital gown, looking emaciated and pale. An IV needle was in his hand, heart monitor electrodes stuck to his chest, and his gown's collar exposed unhealed knife wounds, new self-inflicted scars. These are Anna Yang's design manuscripts from 2019 to 2021, he said, holding up a thick stack of yellowed papers. At 2 a.m. on November 3, 2019, Anna Zhang messaged me from the library saying, "The eyes of the phoenix should have the tears of nirvana." Ethan Ford turned on a recorder. My voice mixed with the hum of a coffee machine came through. Ethan Ford, the prototype for Chapter 3's maze is inspired by the tomb of Emperor Qin, Ms. Zhang, and there's Weibo. I quickly opened Weibo to see Ethan Ford had posted several videos, showing a large number of manuscripts, design documents, and programming records, as well as Git version history of all my design files, with timestamps accurate to the millisecond. Everything pointed to one fact. Ember of the Ancients was my original work, not Sophia Shen's. I've participated in part of this game's process, and I can confirm that every idea came from Anna Zhang, Ethan Ford said. As for Sophia Shen's actions, I'm seriously considering taking legal action to protect Anna Yang's rights. The public opinion flipped, rebounding. Sophia Shen, who thought she could defeat me with this stunt, never imagined Ethan Ford would step up to testify for me. She had no choice but to delete her Weibo post and apologize. Her family business was also hit hard by the scandal, with many partnerships being severed. The internet was now full of criticism and malicious accusations against her. At the end of the live broadcast, Ethan Ford's cold, emotionless face broke into a smile. "Please, everyone, keep an eye on tomorrow's auction for Ms. Anna Yang's Ember of the Ancients game. Anna Zhang, I hope I can make up for just a little bit." I listened to his words, the static of the transmission giving them a muffled tone. I fell silent, my thoughts tangled. The auction price on the official website quickly recovered, even surpassing its previous level. At the auction, Ethan Ford appeared in a wheelchair, pushed by someone, just like when I first arrived in United States. A colleague joked, "Ethan Ford isn't going to bid on Ms. Yang's Ember of the Ancients, is he?" Many people were bidding, but as the price soared, several stopped when they couldn't offer a higher price. At the final stretch, only Ethan Ford and a Russian client remained. 10, 1 million, 11 million. Alex Schmidt, rubbing his face, marveled, "We're not even buying out the game. There's still so much revenue to be made later. I might actually get my dream come true." "But your ex-fiancé really doesn't give up, huh? Is he trying to win you back?" I ignored him, just watching the show. In the end, Ember of the Ancients was bought by Ethan Ford for $12 million, nearly the sum of the previous top 10 games combined. After the deal was confirmed, Ethan Ford approached me. Since his injury, he had been working non-stop, his face pale, his expression still shadowed by gloom. "I bought this game as a gift for you. I've always recognized your talent, and you will definitely shine. I can shift my work focus to United States, if you're willing." Ethan Ford's lips trembled slightly, and he seemed a bit nervous. I politely smiled and replied, "Thank you for the recognition, Mr. Fu, but aside from work, I'm not interested in anything else. I'll just consider this a good deal. Goodbye." Ethan Ford's eyelashes fluttered quickly, his bloodless lips coughed, his earlier expectations shattered. Without hesitation, I turned and walked away. At the press conference, I was interviewed by reporters, one of whom asked curiously, "Ms. Anna Zhang, Mr. Fu from your country spent $12 million to buy Ember of the Ancients. When you were embroiled in the Plagialex Schmidt-M scandal, he also provided your design manuscripts as proof. Do you have any special relationship with him? Are you friends? Or perhaps lovers?" I hesitated for a few seconds before gracefully explaining. "We were friends when I was in China. We discussed the creation of Ember of the Ancients. It was just that the song had ended, and so had our connection." The press conference ended, and Ethan Ford, leaning on crutches, was helped toward me by his assistant. I was discussing the next game design with a colleague and had no intention of paying him any attention, but just as I turned, I heard the roar of an engine. I turned around, and a van without plates came speeding toward us, with Sophia Shen, disheveled and gaunt, sitting in the driver's seat. Her face was blank, her eyes filled with hatred. "Jennifer Zhang, watch out." Ethan Ford shoved his assistant aside and tried to push me out of the way, but his legs gave out, and he collapsed to the ground, getting struck by the van. Bang! I rushed over, but Ethan Ford was already lying in a pool of blood, his body a blur. "Ethan Ford, are you okay?" Ethan Ford struggled to give a faint smile, the first time since we reunited that he reached out for my hand. He coughed up blood, speaking slowly, "Little Moon, I love you. In the next life, I want to love you sincerely and purely." Then his hand slipped, lifeless. Sophia Shen was sentenced to life imprisonment for attempted murder, and Ethan Ford's family brought him back to China for burial. When the prank game's 100th episode and the plane crash happened, Jennifer Zhang had already disappeared, replaced by Anna Zhang. Anna Zhang, who lived for herself, her family, and her dreams. I chose to stay in United States, continuing with the next game design. Another round of Global Game Innovation Awards came, and I submitted my new work, becoming the first designer to win consecutive gold medals. And the spring of a new beginning had only just started.